Okay, well, I'm starting to undertake my spindle kingpin adjustment. Basically, I have spindles here. And I can't get out the kingpin. So I know that there's a bushing here, and then the kingpin is stuck in the middle. And I cannot for the life of me get it out. And I've been bashing it with this and my socket extension. So I'm going to see if I'm going to set it on this piece of wood. I'm in hardwood, but I'm going to set it on this piece of wood here, and I'm going to see if I can move the kingpin at all. Just going to give it a little bit more heat and see if it's possible. Holy moly! Okay, well, thrashed up this wood. I got the kingpin out, and what I wound up doing was using this and this, and I bashed it with this. Now let's see if I can get this thing out. Let's see. I'm just gonna grab the arm, tap this thing up. I don't know why it doesn't come off. Here we go. Got it. So it appears as though this guy just has like a directional slot that goes in there, and that's probably the reason why I was knocking it off this way. So it's still pretty hot. All right, well, I'm gonna try to get the bushings out now. So I ordered a kingpin rebuild kit, which is supposed to arrive today. So now I have the task of getting out the two kingpin bushings. So I'm gonna come back over here with my big mallet and just see if I can get these out. Okay, so kingpin bushing. Let's see what the right size is. I need the right size socket. All right, this is what I've got. This is a 9/16 for the kingpin bushing. Look at that. That is out. And we're going to do the other one. And it is out. All right. So let's look at this kingpin and kingpin bushing, and it doesn't feel that loose, but one thing that seemed very loose was the up and down play on this with the link pin area, with the link pinned in area. So I'm going to get that, and let's see how that looks before my kingpin setup comes in the mail. Why I couldn't take the thing off is a nub. Nub goes on here, and this guy goes on here, so I know this thing is supposed to be like this, and then it's supposed to go on like this, and then the nub goes in there. So I'll have to figure out exactly how to reassemble this. And this thing is still really hot. I'm assuming that you have to kind of knock this into place. Oh, you got to slide it in from the side. That's what you do. So you get this on the nub. Just trying to figure this out before my setup comes in the mail so I can figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do here. Okay. Go like that. And then like that. Okay. You know, that seems reasonable. And the question is how do you limit the amount of play that is in this kingpin? Because my whole problem was that the kingpin was really moving around. So the question is it because this bushing was loose? I don't know. The bushing doesn't feel that loose, actually. Well, this one feels a little loose, but... Or was it? You know, what was the issue? Well, we're going to find out. So I have the hand reamer, and I'll put in the new kingpins, and we're going to just see if I can make this behave a little tighter. Well, now that I had my spindle off here on this side, I knew that this was actually bent, this thing here. So I took off the rubber nub and I hit it. You can see the top of that. I smacked it with the mini sledgehammer a bunch of times. What I'm trying to do, okay, so let's just see where so let's get a frame of reference. Okay, so 17 is this bolt here. Let's see if it's the same here. Yeah, that's the same place. Okay, so then what I want is the top of the top of this one. The top is at 19. So if I check here, I guess the only way I can really see that is if I also take off the snubber. So give me one sec. Okay, well, back to my kingpin bushing. So here I have 2 bushings. This is my rebuild kit. So basically it has a fiber washer and this, and then you keep this metal washer that has the little nub in it, and that little nub there goes where that little hole is. Fiber washer then goes over top of this like this, fits into the slot, which is here. So, but what I have to do is see if I can get the bushing into the into there. And I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to do this. You know, the other, so I can push it in that way, or I can push it in this way. The question is, does that go in without messing it up? maybe I need I think I could get a slightly bigger. This is a 9/16. I'm going to get a slightly bigger one of these because otherwise I'm doing a little damage to the inside of that bushing. All right, well, probably going to have to wait a little bit on this because it's like 5 in the morning and it makes a little bit of noise, but I've got it so that I can take this socket and I can hammer this one down in there. That's going to go in just fine. And then on the other side, I've got it so that I can hammer this one in, and that's also going in just fine. But it's pretty loud, and I think that even being in my garage, it's a little too early for me to hammer like this, so I'm going to just wait a little bit. After I do that, I have this, which is the hand reamer. So that will just go in there. You know, it already goes in a little bit. I just need to hand ream it so that this pin will fit through there. And then, of course, that pin is going to go in here, and then I'm going to hammer that thing in. So we're going to see how it does. I'm just going to wait a little bit before I can hammer in the bushings. Okay, I got both of these kingpin bushings in. 1, 2. This one might need a slight dremeling or filing just to get it off of the out of that little notch there, because this thing has to fit into the notch. So I'll take that down just a little bit. And now what I have is this, which is my hand reaming tool. You can see here, I just take that here and just, I don't have whatever needs to go on this, but I'm just taking this really slowly and going around this bushing. This is a 18 millimeter reaming tool. I just got it on Amazon, and you know, it seems to cut through pretty well. And I tested it on the old bushing just to make sure it was approximately right, and you know, it's a little loose on the old bushing, and you can see there it's coming through. So I'll just do this until I get through on both sides. I've got another 3/4 of a centimeter, and then I'll do this one. And I just want to make sure that this pin gets through there. All right, well, after working on this with the reaming tool, I have it through on both. So the question is, how does that work with this kingpin? Hard to say. I think it may need a little bit more, because it doesn't actually go in there. So I guess you do this until the kingpin you know, is tight, but fits in there. So you know, pretty close. Pretty close, but I think it just needs a little bit more. Well, I'm having to do some adjustment because I have my spacer washer with the hole, and then I have my fiber washer, and then I have my, what do you call this, thrust washer, or the cap that goes on it. And the basic problem is I get it on there and it's so tight that it doesn't actually rotate. So what I'm trying to do is just take off. So this edge kind of hits on there, so that allows this to settle a little higher up. Then on the top of it itself, I have a little bit of, I made it a little rough because of the forcing it on there, so I'll just file that down so that it's pretty smooth. Then on my fiber washer, I've taken actually already quite a bit off of this fiber washer. It was just, there's no way it was going to fit. So the fiber washer here, and here's the metal washer. Not really a whole lot's going to come off of there, but I just have a smooth surface. Just want to see if I can get this spindle to rotate. Okay, final word on the kingpin that I did here. So I wound up having to pound this kingpin out again, go over with the reamer one more time, and it's funny because the reamer was already loose, so I was almost kind of having to, put a little force on the reamer to the side, and but I got a little bit more space in there. Put a bunch of grease in there, pounded the kingpin back in, pounded in the link pin bushings, and I got all of these in. So this now is great, and there's no play whatsoever in the kingpin. So this one is great on the right front, and this one now. That's the question: is do I want to do? You can hear the grease. You can see it wiggle just a little bit there. You see? So now that I'm addicted to fixing kingpins, I might have to do it. Another thing that's really super annoying is as I was tightening down this torsion bar, the grub screw just broke off. So, I guess it's a 60-year-old grub screw, but, what the hell? It broke off, so I'm going to have to make a slot here and try to get this out, and I ordered a new kit, 20 bucks. 4 grub screws. You can only get 4 with the jam nuts, so I've got to get this sucker out. Super annoying, but while I'm waiting for that to arrive, I am going to do the other kingpin on this one. That way I've got really tight front suspension. I think that's going to be great, but I'll tell you, it's a messy job, and sledgehammer, maybe mini sledgehammer, and getting all these pins out look at what this did to the. I didn't have hardwood. Somebody suggested using hardwood, but I did have a piece of wood here to avoid what I was doing here, which is making holes in my concrete. Okay.